Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod podcast. I am your smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G, and we're back from a season of pestilence.
What?
We were both sick last week, so we couldn't
Oh.
record.
Yeah, I
God,
guess.
you really messed that up for me.
I really just didn't know what you were talking about, I'll be honest.
I also have a beast jumping around in the background.
That's right, and guess what other season of pestilence we had? It's season 4 of Lower Decks.
I liked today's episodes. I don't want to call it a season of pestilence. It seems very mean.
And we have watched for season 4 the best and worst rated episode.
That is true. We have watched Old Friends, New Planets,
and a few baddies more.
That's correct.
And would we recommend this season based on those two episodes?
Honestly, yeah. I think both are good.
All right. I'm a bit more mellow, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm still a mild recommend.
Okay. Interesting. Shall we hit some trigger warnings very quickly?
Yes.
When you say death, I say violence.
Death.
Violence, and we're done.
That's right. Those are your trigger warnings for the season. And Jim, if you had to guess, which of these episodes is the highest rated of the season, and which is the lowest rated?
This is genuinely not been as clear as it usually is. I say with some trepidation. So there are two episodes here. One of them is sort of very much a bit story. It reminded me a little bit of the circles or the spheres and cubes episode of season 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is the season finale, yet again. And I feel like I enjoyed both. And I was thinking, because we watched both of these back to back, and I thought during the first one, like, if this is the worst, that's fine by me. This is pretty solid. And I think, again, I'm going to go back to one of my previous sort of like principles, which is that if you're doing a finale, and this is just a season rather than a show finale, but if you're doing a finale and you're not fucking it up real bad and it's a comedy show, I think it will just kind of get some points, especially when it's a bit like... This is obviously not as fanservice-y as the season finale, or the show finale that we watched last week, essentially. But I think it still kind of gives that, like, oh yeah, like it's releasing the dopamine of like, wow, things are really coming to a conclusion, and we're seeing our friends, and some of them are going off on their own adventures. So I'm gonna say the season finale is the highest rated episode, and our other episode about evil robots and such is the lowest rated episode.
You are, of course, correct.
I am so good at Star Trek.
Yeah, thankfully, this time we did not have a field of 5 episodes. I feel two rankings between them.
I feel so efficient today, you know? Like, we're really hitting it out of the park with, like, increasing productivity here on the podcast.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to the fact that we're doing a season in an episode, and we're watching two episodes of television for one episode of podcasting. You're really not picking up what I'm putting down today, huh?
Perhaps. Now, for a quick summary, there's the robot episode, which is, it's mostly just they're hanging out with 2 robots.
There are two bit villains.
Yeah, well, there's one bit villain who gets a Boimler plot with Tendy in the background, and what is the other? Oh, right, the Badgie plot.
Yeah, it's what the episode is named after.
Yeah, it's now Badgie is a recurring character. There's I think there are 3 evil robot recurring characters in this episode.
Fascinating.
And the only one of them that I remember is Peanut Hamper.
Wait, sorry, who's that?
It's the love interest of the Augur, or what's...
I don't remember their names at all, Jorgen. Like, to me, I just kind of assumed, like, wasn't even sure these were from a previous episode, because they're all in, like, a little asylum for insane evil robots. I was like, yeah, these don't need to have, like, continuity.
Yet they do. So this is like the big, picking up, like, older bit characters episode. And going, like, Starfleet really is so good at rehabilitative justice.
Amazing. Truly what we need in the year of our Lord 2020. Was this made after Black Lives Matter?
I reckon it was made like maybe 2023 or something.
That, that would be a time where we'd be like, we should redeem Skynet. I don't really know what that means, but I'm going with it anyway. But yeah, like, we essentially have like two entirely separate plots that are both about
Yep,
like,
2023.
well, there you go. Nice. Good job, Jorgen. But yeah, we just have these two plots, and it's like, I enjoyed this, and I wasn't convinced you would. But I was also like, as we were watching through it, I was like, this is fun and it's charming, and they have some pretty decent bits in the middle of it. But much like, say, the Cube Sphere episode of season 5, they don't really go anywhere with it. Which, as an animated show, I don't think you have to. But
Yeah, no, like I'm exper in so the we should finish the plot summaries.
yeah,
So the one plot is there's an evil robot who's sort of touring the galaxy a little bit with Boimler in tow. Boimler and Tendi, I should say, who eventually is like, oh yeah, no, actually I was just evil so I could hang out with you more, love interest. And she's like, actually,
they're
same
just friends. They're just friends, Jorgen.
um it's very weirdly coded. Um
I was also surprised by that, but yes, sorry. We'll keep on. I'll
um
return to it later.
and the other plot in Badgie's Pour is Badgie comes back, who I definitely didn't remember the first time I saw this episode. Um and
Who is like an AI project of Rutherford.
yeah, and he tries to get revenge on Rutherford, and like it goes extremely well for him. And basically, Mariner and Rutherford just sort of bumble around, failing to stop it, making a
They
few badgies along the
yeah,
way as it keeps splitting.
they
Yeah,
managed to split him into his constituent parts of the like lawful good, the chaotic evil like alignment chart.
yeah,
I kind of felt they were gonna keep going with that for a while.
yeah. No, I'm surprised they only did two like spare badgies.
I like yeah, this thing is like, okay, good and evil, classic, like good setup, and then
Yeah.
like, ooh, law and chaos? That's a pretty fun like extra thing. And then it's like, oh no, it just keeps going, and then it's like, no, actually we're done there, and I'm like, okay, fair. I mean, fair.
Yeah, no, you basically just get rid of good and logic and you have like raw villain material. And then he uploads himself into all of Starfleet and it's like, ah, I guess I'll ascend actually.
He straight up reaches enlightenment.
Yeah.
I think we can officially say that Badgie is now a bodhisattva by the end of this episode.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh yeah, no, I guess I'm like a god, so I'll go off to make my own universe. And that's where the episode like ends.
I love when I like this was a couple of days into us deciding to do this series as a whole. I read about like, oh, like Lower Decks is about like a ship that doesn't get into like big adventures the same way like the mainstream Star Trek shows do, and I'm like starting to wonder if this is something that they just started with, or this is what happens on season 4 of making a show about the uninteresting parts of an interesting universe. You know, that is going to be my personal journey, I think, for the rest of this show.
I think like I you know what, we can take this one I guess when we're recapping, but I have thoughts on this as well,
Fascinating.
obviously. Um and
Putting
the
those little
season
seeds in the ground for the future.
and the season finale sees the infamous Nick Locarno return, who is in the Next Generation and almost gets Will Wheaton killed.
Wait, I thought he did get someone killed.
Yeah, but not Will Wheaton. Will
Oh.
Wheaton is a recurring character.
Oh, thank God.
Or
We must preserve our Will Wheatons.
his name is Wes something. I forget.
Right. Yeah,
Wesley Crusher. There we go.
we get a flashback where he's like, I'm gonna do something cool. And I just genuinely, because we meet him and then flashback.
Yeah.
And it's established he's already the villain here in the modern times. So I was like, I assume this is like a mutiny that he's planning in the past. And
No.
from context, I understood he just fucked up.
It sort of is.
Okay, I thought it was like, okay,
You're not supposed to do the starburst maneuver.
I see.
Because it's literally like, yeah, no, we'll like vent some fuel and and like then ignite it.
So it's like this is the like Iron Lotus thing where it's like it's too dangerous of an
Yeah,
ice skating move. Okay.
I don't know what is the Iron Lotus real?
No.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
um,
It is a cool name though.
and basically his season arc is that he's assembled like a bunch of like lower decks crews where like this sucks, no, the people above us don't like us, gotten them to mutiny and got is trying to like start his own little system, because he's also got a loose nuke in the form of a Genesis device.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept of a nuke. I quite like it, but I was like, huh.
Now the Genesis device is also a major Star Trek like item, and I'm just straight up not familiar with it because it's like in
I
a
see.
movie or something that I have not seen. Um,
So that this is like a new Lord of the Rings show being like, we also have a Balrog.
uh, what?
No, you don't think that correlates?
I I haven't seen any of the new Lord of the Rings
I was
stuff.
trying to make a general example of someone bringing back like, hey, you know this one cool thing from like an original
Yeah,
show.
it's
Okay.
exactly that. But obviously it's lower deck, so they have a so that is kind of their shtick.
Yeah, I suppose that is sort of like something I've been picking up so far is that
Yeah,
there's a lot of referencing, which I
yeah.
guess is literally just like the raison d'etre.
Mm. And yeah, no, he gets stopped by the Cerritos. Mariner like leads them on a goose chase, while the others get like a huge ship to crash into his shield and then just get through. We're just like, you don't need a huge ship for that. There's like asteroids all around. Upon
That's also a good
reflection,
point. Well, like I was also thinking of like, oh, like you can just like apply force until it breaks, and I was like, I feel like maybe if you got like enough ships and just blast at one point,
yeah.
but this is we're
Well, yeah, this is a quick reaction. That's why they need the loose nuke to defend themselves.
I
Um,
suppose yeah.
but
Uh,
Mariner stops, like steals the nuke, and like this is interesting. Like this is one of the few times when like someone in lower decks just straight up gets fucking murked because the coroner is like, "No, I can stop the nuke," and then the Ferengi nuke or Genesis device is like, "Please insert 10 latinum," and then he dies.
yeah,
He dies and like gets blasted into a new planet.
you always need to have your credit card ready when disarming bombs is the fundamental message at the end of
That's
this
right,
episode.
baby.
But yeah, there's also like a little bit of it where it's like they're the Cerritos crew is going to like find Tendy's sister and they get that's where they get a battleship
Yeah,
and in effect she has to give up her free roaming ways to
yeah.
become part of this Orion crime guild
And that's
in
of course
exchange.
how the next season's like little Tendi arc of Tendi is off in Orion space doing shit and then eventually gets back, all of which we have seen, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
I yeah.
most of which we have seen. And that's how that comes about.
I know this is literally like what happens to our format when we do like a show that isn't just like an anthology, but it's very interesting to get payoff and then set up.
Yeah. Well, in this case, we did watch like one piece of the season arc setup at least.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what because like I literally asked you, Jorgen, like, is this a two-parter when we started the second episode, and I was
yeah.
like, no, like,
Well, it's sort of a two-parter. Like there is like, but it's like as separate as the other season finale, and I had also mostly forgotten that. So
we're
that's
all on a journey here.
yeah. Like the first thing I want to flag before I forget is that we have like our first like, oh, this is like a plot that's recurring. Um, remember the best exotic nanite hotel
Yes, yes, I do.
and the AWOL admiral,
I do, yeah.
and how eventually he was like, yes, my minions, defend me, die for me, and everyone was like, hold on. uh we're getting that again, or we've
Yeah,
gotten
because
that
that
again.
was another thing I was actually gonna flag, and then I was like, well, we can get into this later. Is that like the guy is doing like you've all been neglected and like hierarchy and authority is bad, so come join up with me and we'll be equals. And then like when push comes to shove, he's like, I kind of want to rule over you. I kind of want to be like the central special boy and be able to give you orders still.
Yeah, no, like Like, this is, like, very fascinating to me because this show, like, I think in many ways is like a little bit of wish fulfillment, right? Like,
Mm.
oh yeah, no, it's like, ooh, what if we were best friends in space? Um,
Yeah.
but like part of that wish fulfillment seems to also be like, hey, what if people like when when people in power try to sort of exploit their like fears and vulnerabilities when like, hold on, you're exploiting me and fucked off. Um
Well, like, because, okay, so I kind of wanted to get to this because I think it's an interesting thing I feel like I've noticed in the last, like, half decade plus minus a few years. And I think I mentioned this during the episode, did I not?
maybe?
Specifically, I said, oh, this is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes. What did you mean by that?
I noticed you did not ask me any questions, and I was like, yeah, I can say this for the episode. I can say this for the podcast. I think this is an interesting idea. Like, okay, let me be clear with this. I have not seen Star Trek, apart from what has happened on this show,
Yeah.
right? But it reminded me of how Brooklyn Nine-Nine does this thing where they go like, so, obviously, some police, kind of racist, but not our boys. And if you, like, are happy and have a nice time together and be like, hey, racism is bad, that's kind of like systematic change. And like, it's, I haven't seen, I don't have this experience either, but I've heard people refer to it as kind of like the Killmonger problem, where you're like, hey, we had the status quo, it's pretty much perfect except like a few little things, and then someone comes up, like a villain comes up to sort of exploit those issues and make some fair points, and then gets, it turns out they're actually super evil behind that. And that's how it's actually cool that the status quo will fix these little issues in, an indeterminate amount of
Hmm.
time. And I don't want to say that with Animalis, because I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine as a show, but I think their approach to status quo is very interesting that way, where it's like, if someone says, hey, this thing is fucked up, they must be inherently selfishly exploiting the fact that it's fucked up. And that only change can come from within the system when they feel like it.
Well, I think like this show like positions it like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like it's an American cop show. Like
Yeah.
it has like a far harder hand dealt to it in that sense. Whereas Star Trek, like, is like canonically like basically like a communist utopia.
Yeah, see, that's why I find this interesting, because I
Yeah.
don't recognize this as like, well, this is like a direct reference to something in real life,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the point where it's maybe like, people have also jumped off of hierarchies to make
Yeah.
worse things in real life.
Yeah.
The Puritans are a great example.
Yeah.
Which is why I find this really interesting, because but it is the same language, isn't it?
Yes. And I think like it's a very interesting like ideological thought, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like I think it is like a fairly pro status quo message.
Yeah.
But like of this pro technically speaking, and like obviously like this exists within like a like more larger like context as at work. But like within the like universe of the show, it's like, well, yeah, no, like Starfleet is broadly good, but it is like also broadly a bit stupid at times, right?
Yeah. The thing
And
that's primarily being critiqued here is hierarchy, right?
yeah,
And I am not someone who's generally gonna side with the hierarchy, but I have yet to see like a concrete example in this universe where like the hierarchy is fucking things up. Or like acting unjustly.
well, there is like the we need to be cautious in the finale and where they do go renegade.
Mm.
But like that's a like that's not like a crazy position to take to go like, no, not like this will be a massive diplomatic incident, and they're like, we need to save our friend. And like that is just like a like fine macro versus micro tension.
Yeah, that is a plot you can have in like a Nickelodeon movie,
Yeah.
and those usually do not say things about structural power dynamics.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're based as hell,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So like it's really interesting because like it's like pro status quo in the sense that, like, yeah, like bureaucracy is like broadly benign in this world, but it is going to be like annoying and stupid at times. And like if you're like a lower decker, you are going to like be annoyed a lot of the time. Like, sure, you're part of something greater, but you're also like a small cog that's like suffering under a fair bit of sand.
Yeah, like I just think it's interesting, like where it's like it just came off to me as exactly the same thing in like methodology and like delivery,
Yeah.
but without the actual like things behind it. It's like hearing someone say, "I was just following orders," and then it actually like completely makes sense in the context. You know, you're like the language is the same as
Yeah.
something very bad, but like, wait, hang on a second.
Yeah, no, and like I do think like you can make like a serious case that there is uh like this it does sound worse in in the context of being made by Paramount, owned by Larry Ellison.
That's the other part is that like maybe this is the steel man argument that's like Black Panther or like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is trying to do. Now, I want to throw in a curveball to make you angrier, Jorgen. That episode also did remind me of What is Starfleet? And that is where that message comes off very poorly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, and What is Starfleet is interesting because the guy who's protesting the status quo isn't actually evil. It's actually kind of worse. He's petulant. He's being a little bitch about it. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no. I hmm. I wonder I like I'm like wrestling with that comparison in my mind, and like I don't think I have anything intelligent to say. I,
I think it's interesting because like I also you kind of have to come to this in if you're making a show with like a pretty benevolent hierarchy. Like if
yeah.
you're making a fantasy show where there's a good king and his good knights and they're fighting the evil orcs, you know, like at some point people are going to be like, "Is it cool?" And you're going to have to be like, "Yes, it is." Shut up about it. You know, like this isn't not everything has to be Game of Thrones. You can just shut up about it.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to get it from that
Hmm.
perspective. Um Now, I think the thing about what is Starfleet is that they're actually presenting extreme if you look at the situation with a little bit of distance from the narrative itself, it suddenly becomes an extremely good example of where maybe having this like hugely powerful international peacekeeping force kind of shuttle arms for one side and then just unilaterally go, actually, nah, fuck that. Like, there's stuff like that that doesn't seem conducive to like a good universe, to put it very simply, right? Like, you could make arguments, but they are just kind of cowboying it out whether they should deliver the nuke to the attacked nation or not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like it's interesting because like what is Starfleet? Like it's like, oh yeah, no, insubordinate officers doing the right thing. It like in Old Friends, New Planets, it's like much more ambiguous whether this is a good thing to do, right? It is just like, well, yeah, obviously we like our happy-go-lucky renegades, but like, uh, did they like, are we just not mad at them because they like managed to do the thing? But like in general, their course of action may have been unwise.
But that's I think what actually links us together with what is Starfleet is that like what is the central thing about it? It's that the people we know, the people who are nice and friendly, must be morally correct as a result of them being
Yeah.
happy and they say nice things to each other.
Hmm.
Like I am not I do not feel the need to critique this episode over much, but I think it's like interesting to just compare it to that previous episode. Well, like the answer to what is Starfleet and why is it good is because we smile a lot, and the guy who thinks we're kind of shitty is a little bitch about it. You know, like it's like I don't know, because on some level, if I'm gonna be really mean about it, it's something along like, hey, maybe we shouldn't invade in Afghanistan, and then it's like, and it turns out that reporter absolutely could not get laid. That's why he's mad about the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah. Versus, yeah, like it's I'm yeah, no, like it is just straight up like the addition of the reporter that makes it like very clearly like insane.
Yeah,
Versus like, nah, it's just a Renegades baby. Like it's just like like it just like takes away a fair amount of that. Like you shouldn't criticize power element. It's like no, you should be a little rebel nerd.
I think this is a thing that, like, I don't think this is at all unique to pro status quo narratives like this, or really anything involved in here at all. But it is kind of interesting to me how like one of the fundamental things in so much storytelling is that there is no separating a good point from, like, how many shows have you seen where like a piece of shit makes a good point?
I
And the
haven't
narrative
okay.
acknowledges it to be a good point. You know what I mean?
Hit me with something you're thinking of.
I can't think of any. That's the point I'm making
Hmm.
here. Like, if you like, because and I have not seen Black Panther, so I should stop quoting it. But like,
I've seen it. It's fine.
my understanding is that like the Killmonger guy is making some good points, and then
Yeah.
it goes, but he kicks orphans.
Yeah, no, he wants to kill everyone.
And the point you're supposed to draw from that is like those good points.
He's basically Magneto for black people.
Magneto is
Like,
also a great example. Yes, thank
yeah,
you.
no, like he's just straightforwardly Magneto for black people.
And it's interesting to me that like this is so common in storytelling, where it's like, well, now that we've seen that, I guess we can disregard those earlier points. Like,
Yeah,
I get it on an emotional level, but like, I think most people are capable of holding the idea that like bad guy, good point. At least on occasion, like there are people who I fucking hated in my personal life who've had insightful points, and I've had to be like, God damn it, okay. You know, that's a part of life sometimes.
yeah, no, like it's uh, TV has the privilege of just going like, no, no, the bad people are both unseemly to look at, and their ideas are also bad.
I guess that's the next step in this evolution, where we go from like, okay, now that we know he's a bad guy, we can disregard his points. The next step is like, well, he's ugly. He's a stinky boy.
Yeah, I
So
mean it's not that far, right?
no, it's very much the next step. Um, Shout out to J.K. Rowling. um,
We do not endorse J.K. Rowling. Um, Another thing I wanted to pull out, actually, out of the like comparison to Strange New Worlds, is like the way they use nostalgia,
mm,
because in my judgment, like Lower Decks' use of nostalgia is like primarily focused on like deep pulls, like
right.
remember like Nick Locarno.
You kept laughing at things, and I had to ask, "What are you laughing at?" And then you paused and explained for a bit, and I was like, "Okay, that didn't add a lot to my viewing experience."
No, no, it's just like it's like Lower Decks is to show for people who like Star Trek trivia, and Strange New World is the show for like your dad who watched Star Trek when no, like it wouldn't even be your dad. Like it would be like it was like the 60s. That's your
Yeah, your
grandfather.
grandma who wrote the Kirk
I I
Spock
get
fanfic.
I guess it was like on TV for longer. I like I'm actually, but it is like more about the like sort of deep like legacy Star Trek stuff, right? It's about
Yeah.
like yeah, no, it's about specifically Kirk. Mainly Kirk, like the nostalgia is very Kirk based.
This is true. Yeah, we talked a lot about like the character of Spock during the Strange New Worlds
Hmm.
seasons, and how much like it's like his existence is like a point in and of itself in every show
Yeah.
that has him.
But yeah, no, it's very confusing upon reflection because like I'm not sure like who this is fan service for.
Why didn't you just answer it? The trivia nerds, the people who go and like search
Well,
Star
the
Trek
the point
Jeopardy.
I was hoping to make that like this what Lower Decks is for like the trivia nerds and Strange New Worlds is for the elderly.
Uh,
um but now I'm starting to think that point might not be as clean as I was hoping.
well,
Um
no, like I think it makes sense to a degree to me, just because like I think this is what. Well, let's bear ourselves here for a moment. You know, like I as a Dragon Age fan own multiple like peripheral pieces of media, right? Like I have read books, I have read comics about it. And like I understand that I am someone who would go to a Dragon Age Jeopardy night, and I say that. And I hope I am not lambasted too much, but I assume I have just given you a lot of blackmail material.
Hit Jim in the comments.
Uh,
Roast to Jim.
but I also understand that, like, some people, like, will just be like, "Oh, guess they'll play the games," and that's good and fine. Like,
Yeah.
and like I think that's the differentiation, right? Like, some people are the ones who are gonna seek out the extra stuff, and the extra stuff that, like, I think becomes like the most sort of coalesced. This is for people who are explicitly like scouring the markets for everything they can find. Is the stuff that actually shows up in a different form. In this case, animation versus like live action, right? Like,
I'm trying to think, maybe the division is less like age and more like going for like the niche stuff versus the sort of like prestigious stuff.
well, that's kind of what I'm thinking,
yeah.
right? It's like, I'm, you know, if we're taking like a bit of a current example, right? Like Game of Thrones, right? We had our original Game of Thrones that crashed and burned, and then we have two new series, one of which is quite well regarded now. And obviously, like, some people are going to be like, yeah, like, I watched Game of Thrones, like, it was an enjoyable time, I followed along. And some people are going to be like, well, I have the Game of Thrones cookbook that I'm getting ready for seeing the new show. As I sit with like a bunch of like supplementary materials by my side.
Just to be clear, did you know about the Game of Thrones cookbook or did you infer its
I completely
existence?
inferred it because I've been to sci-fi bookstores where they have like a shelf for cookbooks.
Not a hard pull, but still a good point.
Thank
like
you,
a
thank
point
you.
for you.
Well, I do think these are just like different categories. Like, some people are going to be like, I work 8 hours a day and I like Star Trek, so I will watch a new show like once a season. And then there are people who are like, I will be Googling Star Trek cookbook on the metro to my job, where I will have like an extra tab open.
Honestly, I think the cookbooks specifically are more like a gift item.
This is true. It's a bad example, but like, I do think that's the sort of differentiation. Like, I think if you are, I don't even want to say casual fan, because I feel like that's starting to get a bit too like actually about it, but like someone who is invested in it, but not the sort of person who feels the need to like exhaust the well of Star Trek,
Yeah, like I think there is an interesting element to this where there is a spectrum now, like especially in the age of podcasts, where it's like, or like there are so many like iceberg levels of fandom where it's like if you've seen like the actual thing, like you're like fairly invested. You might like remember the characters reasonably well. You might have rewatched it like once. And then there's like, oh yeah, no, you've like consumed like maybe like the mainstream like fan content, like say watched Alt Shift X for Game of Thrones. Right? That's the like I've watched the popular like YouTube. I've listened to like the big podcast.
Right, okay.
And then there's like, oh yeah, no, I've consumed like 10 hours of theory videos and I have like my annotated copies of Game of Thrones that have stickers according to which theory this page holds evidence for.
I can extremely like conceptualize in this sort of like new strange landscape of like what's it called, like not subtext, paratext or something like that.
Paratext is
it's paratext. Like, I can totally conceptualize someone who has like seen all of Lower Decks and their experience of like the next generation is like a podcast recapping it, and I think that's kind of fascinating in a way, right? Like, I feel like in the past there used to be like a way to experience, like, if you wanted to be a respected nerd in these circles, there was like a prescribed way to get through stuff, and now it's a lot more Frankenstein-y, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, like you would like maybe like have the DVD commentary.
Yeah.
But now there's like, like I couldn't possibly say like which level of like depth of nerddom to place you on if you've watched the companion podcast that they made for Voyager like 2 decades after it aired.
I think I also like this is like a genuinely very interesting part of like how media has evolved as like because we talk a lot about like how everything is sequels or prequels or sidequels these days, right? Like there are no
Yeah.
new universes. And I think what happens in that is that like people eventually get tired of just doing like sequel prequel and you'll start being like, well, we made a new show that's about this side character during the events. Like Andor is an example of this,
Mm.
right? Like it's something that's happening to the side of the main
Mm.
story.
Yeah.
And I think that's fascinating. We're ending up in a situation where it's like, okay, you have the first Lord of the Rings book, then you have the second Lord of the Rings book, and then you have the third Lord of the Rings book. And if you're a real hardcore dude,
You've
you
read the Silmarillion.
I was gonna say the Hobbit, but yeah, I guess we are on different levels on this front.
I haven't read the Silmarillion, to be clear.
I
I'm
know
not
someone who
that kind of.
has multiple times. You would not be shocked if I told you who. But moving on, like there used to be like a track to this, right? And I don't think that's as true for many of these like large franchises anymore. That like it's just
Yeah.
become like a web. Like
Yeah.
there's a couple of defining things, right? Like if you're into Game of Thrones, you probably watch Game of Thrones.
Mm.
But once you start branching out from there, it gets a lot fuzzier.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Star Trek is one of those. Like I assume like
I think so. It has to be like Star Trek to like I don't know how you would not know this if you're listening to this in particular, but Star Trek is like sort of the inventor of modern fandom,
yeah, yeah.
um, which is quite they invented like slash fiction.
Yep.
Slash fiction started with Kirk slash Spock,
I was distributed in little magazines back before the internet.
which like is like very bizarre, but also like kind of cool,
I think
right?
it's actually like I think this is in very much the area that I can say that's sick as hell.
Yeah, no, like people have always been like this, but it used to be like the barrier to entry used to be like a lot higher.
Yeah, but no, like I think it's because like if Star Trek, I'm gonna try to math this, and you can feel free to correct me. But the way I imagine Star Trek in the modern day is like you have the next generation, and I think even to maybe a smaller extent the original series as like the two big flagships.
Um, I think like Deep Space Nine might even
Right,
be
yeah, Deep
bigger.
Space Nine was the other one I was gonna mention too. Those are like the three big flagships, and probably in that order, right?
No, Deep Space Nine might be the biggest actually.
Really?
Yeah. Um, the next generation is like probably like a half gen or like almost a full generation sort of before that, but like if you've seen the next generation, you've seen Deep Space Nine.
Huh.
I would not say it's necessarily the other way around.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you also have like a lot of like you have all the movies that were made after the original series.
Yeah.
You know, you have Lower Decks, you have like the various like Discovery and Voyager and all the attempts at revitalizing the series that went down about as well as like Sonic during the 2000s. Like there's a lot to that web pretty
Hmm.
quickly. And some of it is like, okay, how influential is this? And sometimes it's also just like we kind of hate these couple of shows or these couple of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like don't even know about Enterprise, I'm starting to realize.
I know I remember seeing ads for Star Trek Picard, I wanna say.
Oh god, we
Wait,
might
is that
have
a
to be.
show?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
no,
a.
shit, that I'm thinking of it's one of the movies. I very distinctly remembered because they just like the ad was just fan service. Like not in the sense we talk about fan service, but it was just a naked lady. And I was like, okay, well, this seems very straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like modern Star Trek has gone into a lot of odd directions. But
I know it
um
featured Picard.
well, yeah. I'm trying to bring us back around a little bit because I'm wondering if we like have like missed some nuance with the Badgie episode. Um, like I think it's an interesting one in the sense that like it's a bit formulaic.
Hmm.
You know, A plot, B plot, they don't intersect whatsoever this
No.
time actually.
Which we criticized a lot with the bad episodes of last season,
Um,
by which I mean season 5.
though those like did like a nominal tying it together, and this one just like didn't.
I would much rather watch A Few Badges more than pretty much any of the 3 bad episodes of season 5.
Interesting. Like I obviously Badgie is a very grating character.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where I'd land.
Well, the moment he popped up on screen, I was like, ah, Clippy. Like this is a character archetype
Yeah.
in I think cartoons specifically. I was just like, yeah, that's our boy.
But I think like the thing I want to sort of flag about it is that like those both of those plots like very like on their sleeve are like, hey, what if like the good guys didn't do anything and things sort of like resolved
I
themselves?
didn't think about that. That's a very fair point. I was connecting it more like the idea that like both their motivations are ultimately not motivating, I guess, in and of themselves, right? Because we had evil robots who were like, I just wanted to conquer these planets to spend time with you. And then we have Badgie that's like, now that I have reached Nirvana, I've realized that my drive to explode the universe, it's not that cool anymore. I've kind of grown out of the explode the universe plan.
Yeah. To be fair, I think it was just a galaxy.
Oh, whatever. Like, it's.
You
You
are
have to.
correct.
Sci fi uses those terms entirely interchangeably.
Yeah, I hate it.
But no, like it's I don't know. I don't know if I super much draw. Like I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
The evil robots in particular are very cute.
Yeah, no.
But it's like
Badgie again, grading.
yeah,
Anti-Badgie podcast.
anti-badgy, anti-gamer. Whatever else are we against?
Uh, I think it's too long to list.
We are very negative people, at least
It's
as far as
alright, baby.
podcasting is
We're
concerned.
haters.
We are haters. I love being a hater. But no, like there isn't that much more to the episodes, and that's fine. Like it's I think this is a privilege you have to have as a maker of cartoons, is
Yeah.
that sometimes you have a bit and you're just like, that can be 8 minutes of a 20-minute episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine.
Like I do somewhat respect being like, yeah, no, we're not a real show. We don't have to like really resolve our conflict.
Yeah.
You know, we can't just like, to be fair, like not like that much humor. I do think like the humor, like both of these episodes are like moderately funny, and a few Badgie's more is a bit less funny.
Mm.
Which is sort of like why I'm so on them. Like I was genuinely, there are better episodes this season.
Damn, brutal.
But like I guess the finale got like the finale bonus.
Right, that's what I'm realizing. I'm if you're gonna keep showing me finales in the coming seasons, I will have them fucking pegged.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually checked the upcoming ratings, but oh boy.
I think this is something that genuinely, like, not to go on another tangent, but I do think this is something that happens in, like, good-hearted shows where they just, like, if you're someone who likes those sorts of shows, like, enough to go to IMDb and rate them, I think you have a good heart and you're like, I see you put a lot of effort into the season finale, so I've decided that's a 9 out of 10 automatically. That's my analysis.
Oh, you're not wrong, probably. There's a lot of, yeah, no.
We have this like general idea that like most of the time if you're going on the internet and you're rating something, you are mad about something, right? Like if you have a pleasant experience at a pizzeria, you go, that was a good pizza, and then you go home. But
Yeah.
if they came out like 40 minutes late and the pizza was cold, you're
And
like,
they stabbed you.
yeah, like there's like I'm going, and this is true for me as well. The only Google review I've ever left was by a computer repair place that tried to scam me. So I fully understand.
Yeah.
But I think it's not true for some specific groups of interests and people.
Yeah, I mean TV shows have this problem generally that like later episodes and later seasons will just be very inflated.
Right.
Because, you know, they will have lost the people watching who don't like it.
That's
Right?
fascinating.
Like you're going to have like the most like fair rating on like the first like 1 or 2 episodes of the season, because like maybe if someone like didn't like click with it at first, they might have given it another shot. But like if they didn't like it, they're not going to like hate watch the whole season unless you're like a complete psychopath.
Which those people exist, but those people make podcasts, so like I don't think they
and
make
those
up.
people, like there's not that many of them. Like most
Exactly.
people will just be like, oh yeah, no, I sort of lost interest, and then I didn't watch more of it.
Like those people who would hate watch like an entire season are the same people who like play League of Legends expecting to eventually enjoy a match, right? Like their fundamental ability to forecast like satisfaction is broken on an extremely basic level.
Yeah, or they like being angry.
I think those are very similar concepts.
Yeah, forecast and appreciate satisfaction. Um,
But no, like I don't think I have too much more to say about it. Like I think like it was enjoyable to me, but I also think it's the kind of thing where like if you have a central bit and that's the entire episode, like you're gonna get a lot of variability whether people enjoy it or not.
yeah,
It happened to land with me. I don't think it landed with you. But like neither of us are particularly radical in
yeah,
our opinions here.
yeah. I want to like flag the comparison you made to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
Because
Interesting.
like I do think there is like an interesting like comedy show thing going on, where that Brooklyn Nine-Nine does just better on.
Mm-hmm.
Because like lower decks, as like with most of the things we've looked at, has been like uh, at times like apprehensive to go like no, we're gonna have like conflict or whatever drive the
Mm-hmm.
story. Brooklyn Nine-Nine has the benefit of being able to let mystery drive the story. Like
Yeah.
you drop a body at the start of an episode, and you have people engaged,
Yeah.
and so that is something that like I don't think lower decks like ever really finds, like
Mm-hmm.
that sort of like external thing to like hang the episodes on. And I think that is probably why they eventually like ran out of steam.
I think there's an interesting like way to view this too, right? Where it's like if you're doing a comedy show, but like most comedy shows are not about comedy,
Yeah.
right? Like something is happening and then the writing is the comedy. And the point being that like you want to devote as little effort as possible to the central thing that is happening in the background while you
Yeah.
do comedy. And inherently, if you're in the real world and you have like here's a dead body or like a man
Mm.
enters the room and fires a gun, like you immediately have that on lock.
Yeah.
Partially for like the obvious reasons, but also partially because like you are connected. Because like, hey, like this is something that might happen in the real world too. So you immediately go like, ooh, like I have some
Yeah.
connections there.
And like straight lower God, I shouldn't have talked about both of them. Now I'm getting jumbled around. Lower decks is just like they do like a bit of the like sort of background plot, but like it's fairly heavy on the bits.
Yeah, like it also makes it hard. Like I was reflecting on this with the most what was it like the coolest exotic nanite to
Yeah,
tell,
best
but
exotic.
exotic nanite to tell is like I did not. I barely understood the whole nanite thing, even though it should be self-explanatory. And I was kind of like, I don't even know what role the nanite thing is there, except as like a big red sign that says conflict is happening.
Yeah, no, I think like what sort of dragged that episode down in retrospect a little bit was just like the plot was like kind of stomping about, but like
Yeah.
it still didn't have like that much substance. So like they like had time that was basically spent on nothing, whereas usually they spent that time on bits.
Yeah. That's the hard part where you're having to balance those two things because you can't just be like, let's set an episode where they're just like in the cafeteria drinking and exchanging jokes. You can maybe
I'm
do that
actually
once per season.
very sad that they didn't never do like any bottle episodes.
What? I mean, I guess it's animation, so it doesn't save that much like effort
Yeah.
or time, but that is kind of sad. I am a bottle episode defender personally.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge bottle episode fan.
Well, rip. Maybe in the next series we do.
I Star Trek usually doesn't do bottle episodes. Like I don't like it. It's quite difficult to do a bottle episode in Star Trek because you're in a spaceship, so everything is like a little bit bodily to begin with.
I guess also like the hard part is we're coming from Strange New Worlds, which is like 80% of the budget is special effects and 15% of the budget is get the hottest people imaginable in your sight radius as our cast.
But yeah, I think I'm commentated out. I don't
Me
think.
too. I like season 4. I wasn't shaking with joy, but I was like, this seems pretty decent. This
Yeah,
is
no.
pretty good.
And like from recollection, like I think like like I'm a big like finale hater in the context of like this podcast. Um but
It's
like
hard because like Black Mirror doesn't have finales.
yeah, no, like it's like it's not good podcast material either. It's like, oh yeah, no, you've built a season long arc. Like we haven't seen it, we don't super care, and you're doing like more fan service than usual. So uh but yeah, no, like most of the season is like quite good.
You know,
It's got
you
the cave episode. Oh, the
okay,
cave episode is really good.
okay, fascinating.
I
And
was really thinking about vetoing the cave
you
episode.
have the power.
Yeah, no, but scheduling and
That's fair. That's
we
fair.
did 5
We
episodes
did.
last
Yeah,
season.
it was a lot last season. Um, but no, I think it's like an interesting thing because like I think through Black Mirror we repeatedly had the experience of like I kind of thought this episode was bad when we first watched it, and I talked to you and it was like okay, there's something there, and I think the reality is that a season finale is always going to be the exact opposite.
Yeah,
You have to float on the emotion, and like first of all, I at least don't have that much emotion behind it
yeah,
because I haven't built it up, but
yeah. No, me
also.
neither. Like the build-up's really missing, and like the other thing that really like buoys a season finale is going like, oh man, I'm not gonna get to watch this show anymore for a bit.
And so I have to appreciate it more. It's
Yeah,
like a very strong, like you don't know what you got until you lose
like
it.
it is a send-off because you're going off the air for like 3/4 of a
Yeah.
year.
Like it's also like for me specifically, like we've talked a lot about how I am more annoying about shows than you are. Like you are a lot more keen to be like, I will meet the show where it's at.
Mm.
And I will say I have one slight exception to this where I think music can pretty much like if it's good music and it's emotional, you can fucking mind control me temporarily. And I think that's part of why I'm more okay with finales because there's be like, oh, there's gonna
Mm.
be some sick like triumphant music at like an emotionally high point, and for about a minute I will be like, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, Tendy's leaving. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, like I don't know, like I really liked this show when I like first watched it, but now like Black Mirror was immeasurably enhanced by podcasting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lower Decks, so far purely worse through podcasting.
God. I wonder if this is the trajectory we're going on for the future of this podcast. Is just gonna keep ruining shit we like. You know, there
Nah.
there are some podcasts, and like this is how we started, where we're like, hey, I have this thing I kind of hate, but I'm emotionally engaged with. Can we like mold it a bit? And I think that's a regression towards the mean,
Yeah, that's
right?
how we started.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And like so many podcasts are just that. But when you now go from that to being like, hey, I have a nice thing I want to show you, my podcasting buddy, and you go like, oh, oh.
Yeah, no, we're foolish. But yeah, we will do season 3 next
Oh,
week.
huzzah.
I'll do a little bit of research, which episodes that's going to be. But yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, and watch me continue my streak of guessing episodes correctly moving forward.
I might have to make things harder if you're going to be like that.
Well, okay, well, let's negotiate about that before we go any further.
See you on the other side.
See ya.